So basically I did ballroom until I'd say until I was 18. When I was 16, I moved from my town to go in a high school where there was a dance option to pass the baccalaureate in France. So it was in Lyon. I moved there, and for 2 years, besides studying the baccalaureate, I was also studying history of dance, theory of dance. We were going to see some shows. So it was in Lyon. My high school, my lycée was called Juliette Récamier. We were going a lot to this theater, dance theater, which is called La Maison de la Danse, which is I think maybe it's changed now, but when I was there in 2014, 15, it was the only theater that was only dedicated to dance show, to provide a dance scene, to provide dance as a complete art. So often with my class, with this program, we were going to see some shows and we would analyze the choreography, we would write some report. So for 2 years it was this work on dance theory, which was very, very, very enlightening on the history of dance. We also did a lot of practice, contemporary mainly. We received some international choreographer, dancers who would come to teach. For example, we had a class on the technique of Dominique Baguet, which was a choreographer in France in the 80s, 90s. We had a dancer from Pina Bausch, which is a very, very important choreographer from Germany, and she did a lot for dance and expressionism in dance and theatrality in dance. So yeah, those 2 years were very, very deep and more theoretical, and it also taught me how to move differently than in ballroom, because ballroom is mainly about grace and how to move, also for an audience, how to perform, outperform, while when I was doing contemporary, we mostly were more request to have a more thoughtful think about what is movement, what put us in movement, and always when we were creating, choreographing, it was more about the process and what message we wanted to share, this kind of thinking. So it was more thoughtful experience with dance, with the contemporaries techniques. Beside this, at that stage of my life, I wanted to become a dance professional in dance. I still want to, though. I always wanted to be a choreographer, and so to me the first step was to enter in a school. And basically in France, when you want to become a dance teacher, and if you are not in urban dance, there are only 3 ways. 3 institutionalized dance, which is ballet, jazz, and contemporary. And my main background was in ballroom, so I thought, okay, maybe it's time for me to learn those techniques, because otherwise what I'm gonna do, and I don't want to be a professional ballroom dancer. So I started to do ballet. I did ballet for 2 years in a very, very good school called Nini Telad in Lyon. And I also took some class in jazz. These 2 techniques was also very, very important to dig into. I felt less connected to this dance. Ballet is a very, very good dance for technique, for the discipline of the body. It helped me also to kind of review all my posture and the works of the legs and the works of the feet. All your ankles works differently, your back. It's a very, very strict techniques, but for me it was a bit soft, because coming from a ballroom where you can express anger, when you can express so much emotion, when you kind of dance a ballet choreography, it's really, really soft. It's really, really about everything is soft, everything is really, really shaded. Yeah, you put, as if you put a shade on you, and you have to float in the air. Yes. So to me, classic was more about learning technique, discipline of the body. And jazz was more also about going a little bit more down to the earth and more in the abdo, the back. Jazz, I felt more related. It was also more energetic, a little bit more expression wise. It was more interesting. Then what happened? I broke my knee while skiing. I didn't broke it, but it was the ligaments. What a great idea to go and to ski before passing some auditions for dance schools. Anyway, so I had to stop. I went to do a surgery. I had to stop dancing for a while. I was sad. I cried because I felt my dreams were broken and I could never dance again. No, I knew I would dance again, but at that moment I was like, damn, it will never be the same again. I won't have the same technicals possibility and same physical possibility. And then what kind of saved my life is so because I couldn't go to all the auditions I applied to when I was 18, I passed my baccalaureate, and the plan was to audition to some dance school and try to get into a dance school. Obviously with the surgery I couldn't, and well, my best grade in school was in philosophy. I loved philosophy, and I kind of almost automatically, when I knew I couldn't go for dance, and because my grades were the best in philosophy, I subscribed to philosophy faculty in the university in Lyon 3 Jean Moulin. And so basically I did my re-education when I was in philosophy. I started to give flamenco classes. So what helped me to become a teacher in flamenco dance is obviously ballroom dance and the fact that I did dance paso doble before. So I had I had incorporated all the Hispanic and Hispanic attitude, Hispanic character, the technique of the body, the arms. Yes, basically the attitude. I met my boss who told me the basics in flamenco very, very quickly. I catched up everything, and straight away he needed a help to give to give the classes. So I started doing flamenco classes. And I did this for a year, and it really, really helped me because flamenco is really, really you have to bend the knees always, and it's really, I would say, ancré in French, but I would say it's really, really on the floor, and it was perfect for my knee to get back my muscle, etc. So yeah, I did this for a year. After flamenco, I also start to do capoeira. So capoeira, I started when in my life I was at the point where I wanted to start a new dance style. I had hip hop in my mind for a while, like even when I was dancing ballroom, I always felt I wanted to try. I tried some class at that time, but I never couldn't really get into that style because at the moment my focus were on the institutional dance. I was like, if I want to be a teacher, I have to get all the diploma, get all certificate, officialize, etc., etc., recognized and stamped by the government. So I have to go to the institutional dance, and so hip hop at that point were not really on the road to become a professional in dance. So I was in that process of trying to find a school or place or here and there. And I moved in a new flat, and there was a capoeira school just down in my street. And one day I just give it a try. I am curious about the body, about the way we move, about all the techniques of the body. And martial arts are, to me, also a way to move. To me, it's also a way to dance. I don't reduce dance to only moving on the music. To me, I would see dance even when we walk in the street, or even when we are sitting on the table, eating together, or this kind of techniques of the body. And capoeira was especially interesting because it's a martial art that is it's a fight that is disguised as a dance. So it was the slaves in Brazil who started to practice this, which was also basically an art that was in fact inherited from Africa, like Angola and other countries in Africa. So you have all the instruments, the chorus, people singing, and you have two adversaires, two fighters, in the middle of the cipher, and people are singing around, and the two adversaries are trying to trick the others. And I just, for 2 years, I really took all that art in me because it was so interesting to feel the music. It's all about community and culture in capoeira, and you have to sing not only to practice it, you also have to sing to, if you really want to, if you want to respect the art, to know how to create a berimbau, which is the long instrument which you play with, you think, you have to learn the song. So it was really interesting. And then I finished my studies in philosophy, and throughout all my years in philosophy, I had this idea of always wanting to continue to think about the body, about dance, and it was something that was really, really into me.